I have 3 books for you today, and I think the thread that is common through this is women and girls doing things that society tells them they shouldn't be able to do. So we have a murder mystery, a naturalist, and a fantasy child who, children don't solve murders, do they? So I hope you enjoy Murder at Archley Manor by Sarah Rosette. This is a delightful murder mystery, locked door mystery. It is set in the 1920s, so if you like that time period historical fiction, you're going to love this. It's got lots of glam and everything that you might come to expect from a 1920s London elite, aristocratic type society. It's high society. Olive is our main character. She is aristocratic but flat broke. So a friend of her, or her cousin, asks her to investigate her fiance just to check things out. Well, she has trouble finding a lot about his past, which is kind of suspicious. And then she's invited to a party in which he'll be there. And so she attends that. And while they're at the party, someone is murdered. It is a locked door mystery. I think there's a storm or something that's keeping them all inside. Nobody could go outside in that or anything. So there's so many secrets that are uncovered. You don't even know which one is the one that caused the murder to happen. So it is delightful. This copy, I happen to love this author, so I purchased this on Kickstarter. It is hardcover and it is full color on the inside and everything. So if you go to buy this in the bookstores, it's going to have a little different cover, a little bit different look to it. It is a delightful story. Read it. Next up is A Natural History of Dragons, a memoir by Lady Trent by Marie Brennon. So this book it kind of looks back in time. This is written by the greatest dragon naturalist of all time, and this is her kind of journal or memoir of how she became the great dragon naturalist. It is set in a different world with names of places and such that I can't pronounce. Which I tend to hate, but this, I make an exception, is so amazingly written that I read it anyways, and I just do blah, blah, blah for the names. But it's about this, starts at her as a little girl, absolutely enamored with dragons, and a man comes to visit her father when she's a little bit older, like young woman age, and he comes to visit her father, and he's going on a dragon expedition and this is kind of set, like if I had to put it in an Earth time period, it's kind of the mid 1800s, 1850s something time period, I would say, because it's the early time period of when science really became what it is today, where we observe in the natural environment rather than go out and kill the animal and then dissect it. So this is still that transition period, and Lady Trent is kind of the one that helps that transition happen. The man invites her to come apprentice to him, and so she goes on this expedition, and she's super excited, but then she realizes she's a woman and she's going to be relegated to mundane tasks, even though she's an extremely gifted naturalist. The book contains drawings like this, so I'm guessing they're in the ebook, but I don't know. I like the paper book copy. It's a great trophy for the shelf. But yes, it's a wonderful story, and it's not just boring naturalist, she goes and draws dragons and studies them. There are other exciting things that happen. I don't want to say anything because that might spoil it. You have a clash of cultures and things like that. So it's very good story. Elatsoe is the name of this book. It is by Darice Little Badger, who is a Lipan Apache. The author is actually a Lipan Apache, and the characters in the story are also Lipan Apache, but they live in kind of an alternate Earth where it's mostly Earth-like and have Earth cities and things like that. It takes place in Texas, but there is magic. So that's why it's an alternate universe. It is fabulous. This is Lipan Apache magic and other kinds of magic. So there's multiple magic systems in this world, and it's amazing. She includes stuff from her own culture. I loved just reading. This character is delightful. I loved her, and her friend as well. They're high school age kids, and her cousin is murdered down in South Texas. And so she goes from, I forget where, kind of northern half of Texas area, travels down to South Texas to go stay with the widow, her cousin's wife, and their new baby girl, and help take care of them and get them readjusted to life as a widow. So she gets involved in trying to figure out who murdered her cousin. She has the ability to raise the dead, like as a ghost. She has a pet that is a ghost, a pet dog. And that's who you see here, I think. And so it's really different, which I loved. Remember in the first video I said I love fantasy that is different from typical 1980s tropes. So this definitely fits that bill. I listened to this on audiobook, and I also have the paper copy because this paper copy has illustrations in there. I originally bought it just a paper copy, but life got busy and I kept trying to pick it up and read it, and I couldn't get around to it. And so I finally downloaded it on audiobook. Wonderful, wonderful narrator. Did an excellent job. I learned how to pronounce Elatsoe correctly because of the narrator. So I recommend both. This is a beautiful trophy for your shelf, but also the narration is excellent as well. Fabulous book.